So it's a nice, foggy, dreary, rainy, crappy day today. We're supposed to have rain off and on all day. And I got a lot of errands to run today, so it's not too bad of a day for it to be rainy. I need to go get goat food. And hopefully I'll be able to get it in between the raindrops. And what I'll do today is I figure since I'll be getting goat feed, I'll make a video about goat feed, what I feed them, types of hay to feed them, and maybe do a little bit of an experiment that I was asked to film. So, but right now I just gotta get my feed sacks. Well, maybe I don't need feed. I guess I don't need feed right now. I didn't realize my barrel was full. You see, they act like they're starved. They just love grain. Yeah, I got that much left in there. And a full barrel there. I guess I can get feed next week. But I still got errands to run, and at 3 o'clock I gotta go get the oil changed in my car, because on vacation we put 7,300 miles on it. So anyways, I will return and we will talk about feed. Okay, so I'm done from running my errands, and so that means it's time to talk goat food. I'm not claiming to be an expert on goat food. I'm just going to explain some of my findings and what I do, and show you. They think they're getting fed because I opened the thing. I gave them some hay so they maybe leave me alone. Gonna talk about hay, feed, and anything else that comes to my mind. So, put a little bit of my feed up here on top of the cart. Show you what I feed. I got here my elevator slip. Alright, so my feed consists of corn, oats. I got on my thing, it's SM Dairy Beef 35. I always call it Golden Dairy, and I actually think it's supposed to be 33 instead of 35. Molasses and TM Salt Block 50. I don't know why that's on there. I don't think I bought the salt block. Let me look at the other slip. Alright. Corn, oats. I guess it is 35. Liquid molasses. That's all I have in it. Corn, oats, Golden Dairy, and liquid molasses. And it makes a nice moist feed. The corn normally isn't cracked. They do that. You can see there's some whole corn. I think they just do that to do it. I don't know. I got a really good relationship with my elevator. My grandpa's been going to him for a while, and I decided to go to him. So here's my mixing ratio. It's 200 pounds of corn, 100 pounds of oats. That's 80 pounds of dairy. They sell everything by the hundredweight. Well, they sell their supplements by the hundredweight. So that's 80 pounds of Golden Dairy and 25 pounds of liquid molasses. I've changed the quantities a few times. I haven't changed the ratio much. Let's see, that's from 2016. That's from 2016. There's about a 6 months difference between these two slips, and you can see that there's 200 pounds of oats, or 200 pounds of corn, 100 pounds of oats, 80 Golden Dairy, and 25 molasses. And this one can't find my most recent slip. And this one is 250 pounds of corn, 50 pounds of oats, 80 pounds of golden dairy, and 25 pounds of molasses. That's what I used to feed, and I decided I wanted to get away from corn a little bit more. Corn, from recent experiences, well, not recent experience, from past experiences, I don't know why I said recent. When they get a lot of corn, it seems to make their hoofs grow faster. So you gotta trim more hooves. My feed formula is not, it's what my guy at the elevator who raises sheep, it's what he would do for his sheep minus the copper. Sheep cannot have copper, where goats can have copper. But this is based off of my grandpa's cattle feed. This is what he feeds his cattle minus the oats. So he would get all corn and no oats. And I started feeding that, and I started doing more reading. I decided I wanted to put oats in it. And the reason my grandpa doesn't do oats is oats are expensive. I like the idea of doing oats in it. It gives it some diversity. I don't know any of how much protein and all that good stuff. I'm still trying to learn about feed some more. I don't know what all my feed has in it. So I try to diversify it to get more out there. My grandpa, he has switched to the same feed mixture that I do with the oats. He actually puts more oats in his now. He had a guy tell him oats help with kidding. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't looked into it. But I want to try to get away from feeding grain. Most people will tell you not to feed grain to goats only as a treat or as a supplement during kidding. Well, with my big operation here and no pasture, I have to feed hay, so I give grain pretty much all the time. And it helps them fill out better. You can see they're filling out pretty good, the little ones are. I don't have an exact amount that I feed them every day. It'll change from month to month. I have this big scoop. I feed them right now 2 of these scoops once a day full into the trough, and then I put a scoop in the creek feeder for the little ones. I feed based on how they're looking. If I think they're looking a little thin, I'll up their feed. If they're getting too fat, I'll back it off a little bit. Right before breeding, I thin them down a little bit, and then during when they're lactating and getting ready to kid, I up the feed a little bit to help them out. Because that's when they say you should give them more feed, is right before they kid and while they're lactating. I'm thinking about switching my feed mixture. I was just reading the Goat Rancher last night. I was catching up. She's an ornery sucker. I was catching up. I don't know why she's after that one all the time. Catching up reading, and I found this. They were talking about feed. Alternative feedstuffs can provide added nutrition in a goat's diet. And these are all the different things that they talk about. And you'll see they got cottonseed hulls. They don't have much protein. They got 90% dry matter, 5% protein, and 45% TDN. When I was at the elevator one day, there was a guy getting feed mixed up for his show cattle, and they were putting cottonseed hulls in it. And I asked the elevator guy, I said, what do they do the cottonseed hulls for? He said they do it as a filler. Fills them up, keeps, it's cheaper than buying corn to fill them up, and it's got some protein in it. So I was thinking about maybe messing around with some different mixtures, putting in some more fillers in it, maybe experimenting with cottonseed hulls. I want to look more into it. Everybody feeds something different. My feed kind of matches what you would get out of a bag at Rural King or Tractor Supply or whatever. Purina makes a goat chow that's almost like a sweet feed, but it's got a little bit of corn and some oats in it. Rural King sells a knockoff of that, and it's really moist. My feed, the moisture, just depends on the mix, and it varies mixture to mixture. Sometimes it's a little dry, sometimes it's a little moist. But I've had good luck with it. I've been feeding it ever since I had goats. So now I suppose we can talk about hay. Don't go out and buy expensive horse hay for your goats. They won't eat it. People say goats, oh, they'll eat anything. They won't eat anything, I'll tell you that. They're very, very picky. Certain hays they love, certain hays they don't. You'll put some hay in here and they'll see nothing but stems on the ground. They won't eat the stems, they'll eat the leaves. What I'm feeding right now isn't hay that I've had, or that I grew. It's a Timothy orchard grass mix, and I love it. I bought the guy out of it. He was at a sale, and I should have bought his truckload, but I didn't. I ended up going to his farm and buying what he had left, and the goats love it. I grew all alfalfa with a little bit of Timothy in it, and the Timothy didn't start coming up until the last couple years, and I would only get it in the first cutting. So I would keep my first cutting, and only if it had enough other grasses in it to thin out the alfalfa, because I've not had good luck feeding straight alfalfa to goats. My alfalfa, I can hardly ever get it to dry right, so it's always moist. And when I first got goats, I had 4 of them, and I had one get bloat because it got into a clump of wet hay. And ever since then, I didn't feed any of my own hay. I always sold it, or traded it with my grandpa for some of his more stemmy orchard grass hay. When I replant my pastures, I'm going to do an orchard grass Timothy mix. They seem to like it better. Now with hay, goats and sheep both are known for wasting a lot of it. And that's why that feeder's sitting outside there. I'm not using it right now. I just throw the hay in there. They seem to waste less eating out of that than they do out of that, because they pull it through, drop a bunch, and then they step on it and don't pick it up. Here, at least, they'll pick a little bit of it up. Now, if you watch them eat, you'll notice they just take a big old mouthful and just chew, 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 and chew. They drop a lot, like that one over there. See, they'll take it, and they'll walk around chewing on it, drop stems, just make a mess. When I feed out of that feeder right there, I don't have to put down bedding, because they'll bed themselves, and that just irritates me, because hay costs money. So I believe the more chopped it is, the better they'll eat it. And to kind of prove this, or at least show it, I'm going to do an experiment with my bedding chopper. I'm going to run one of these bales through a bedding chopper and mix feed in with it, and try to do a mixed ration type thing. I was talking to Brad from Larson Valley Farms, and he was interested in seeing this, so I'm going to videotape it when I do it. I might do it today. I probably will do it today. And he was going to share the findings with his cousin, has the goat dairy. When I was down at the farm show, I talked to the people from J-Lore about their little feed mixers. I think they're A50s or something like that. They got a little, I think it's a single beater feed mixer. And they asked me what I had. I said, well, I got meat goats. And they said they just sold a feed mixer to a guy in Kentucky that had meat goats. He was looking for a cheaper way to feed his goats. I don't know what he was doing. I wish he would have been there. I'd have loved to talk to him. But he was looking for a cheaper way to feed his goats. I don't know if he was going to feed silage, if he was just going to chop the hay up. Because I think chopping the hay up into finer pieces make it easier for them to eat, and they won't waste as much. But doing that, I got to mix in the feed with it. And I don't know if the feed will... I'm not so too sure on how feed mixes mix, how everything stays mixed well. I know you got to add moisture for stuff to stick, and the grain, I don't know if the grain will just kind of settle out or what to do, so I'm going to try it. But I know people feed silage. I've heard of people feeding silage to goats, meat goats. I don't have any way to do silage. I could get silage bells, I suppose. Baleage or haylage or whatever you want to call it. And try that. But for now, I'm just going to try and chop a bale up to eliminate all them big stems and everything. So that's about all I can think of talking about feed. If anybody that watches and has goats, I'd love to know what you're feeding, or any different feed mixes you know of. I suppose I could talk about pasture a little bit. Pasture, goats are browsers, which means they love trees and shrubs and just go out and get whatever they can get. They're not so much a pasture animal, but they will eat the pasture. I went to a couple. I gotta get this goat out of the feeder. Everyone gets in the feeder and it irritates me. I hear that rattle. She knows what that means. But I went to a couple different seminars last year. I went down to Wilmington College. They had a small farms conference, and they had a lady from Mississippi, Dr. Maria Browning, I believe her name was, and her husband. She teaches, I'm probably getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's at Mississippi University or something like that. And her husband's at Tennessee Tennessee University or somewhere in Nashville. But they come up and they did some different little seminars, and then whoever went to that seminar got invited to their one down in Nashville. And I went down to that one, learned quite a bit, and they didn't really talk too much about pasture. It was more goat health and management. But they did say that crabgrass is good for goats. It helps with worm issues, and so does clover. And goats, they say, don't like to eat clover. But I've never had a problem with these ones eating clover. Actually, that's all I had come up out here a few years ago when I planted. Or a year ago, I don't remember when I planted it last. All I had was clover come up, and they loved it, and that's really supposed to help with worming issues. But for my pasture, what I'm going to do is orchard grass. I'm just going to do a variety: orchard grass, timothy, maybe a little bit of clover, just a spot of alfalfa here and there. Because I would like to get maybe a few head of cattle eventually. I had 2 Jerseys. They're over at my grandpa. I sold them to him. So I'd like to have it for a couple different things. I got a seed mix in the house that I actually got, or a seed mix brochure I got when I was down in Wilmington from a guy that sells seeds. It's a sheep mix, but it'll work for goats. And they had some cattle mixtures in there and everything. I'd like to try that. I can't remember exactly what was in it, but it had a variety of things. What I planted out here this year was a variety of things. Had orchard grass, had clover in it. Didn't have any alfalfa in it, but I put some down. But it didn't come up. The bag was a year old, and I just think it might have been bad seed. So I'm going to try again this year. Debating on if I want to try it, replant it before I put the fence up or after I put the fence up. As soon as I get rid of this red building out here, I'm going to buy fence and everything to put up. The little ones in there eating the hay. Let's see if there's anything else I can think of. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about. I just can't think of it. If I had more subscribers, I would do a live stream. We could talk about it if anybody was that interested in it, but I don't think I have that many people that's interested in goats. But I could be wrong. So I guess right now, before I just keep rambling on, I'll say if anybody has any questions or anything, can leave them in the comments. And if you do have goats, let me know what you feed them. I'd be interested in that. And that'll be it on the feeds, I guess. Unless I get enough questions, I can make another video. So yeah, I will call that the video for now. And when I do that experiment, I'll get a video of it and tag it on here. I might actually do it right now. It's not raining. I gotta pull the straw chopper out into here. Actually, I'll do it a little bit later, after I get back from my oil change appointment, so that way they'll have the hay gone and it'll be feeding time. So alright, stay tuned. Thanks for watching right now, in case I forget to say it later. And when I do the feed thing, I'll add it onto the end. Alright, thanks for watching. So what I've done is I chopped up a tote full, which is about half a bale or so. Straw chopper's still out there. That thing's a beast. It's hard to get started. It's just a pain. So what I'm gonna do is, since I'm not doing a full bale, I'm just gonna put 1 scoop of feed on top of it and mix it together like kneading bread, I guess. And then I'll rake that hay out of the way and dump it in the one side. But you can see, let me show you here. You can see how long stemmed and stringy it is. And this top stuff didn't get shredded all the way, but you can see what it turned into. Even the stuff that didn't get shredded all the way. So I think it'll work good. Let me mix it up and I'll show you feeding it to them. So I mixed it for a little bit. I added another half a scoop because putting it full scoop on the top, it didn't work out so well. It sounds like a lot of the feed's just falling to the bottom, but you can see the odd bit of corn and feed in it every so often. So here's a bunch. So let me break all this hay out of the way and I'll dump it in and see what it looks like. Get all that down to the end. Oh, my little sorting paddle's over there. I don't have anywhere to lean you guys up that the goats won't get you. I guess I just have to tag along. Hey now, get out of there. Alright, I don't know what that video's gonna be like, because I had to stick you guys in my mouth. So it's pretty mixed up. There wasn't a bunch of grain that come out at the bottom, so now the question is, are they just gonna go through and pick out the grain? Let me spread it out. think they might just be going for the grain. That's what it sounds like anyways. But they don't have a choice but to get a little bit of hay with the grain. There goes the guy. If you had a herd you were starting with, got some kids and started fresh, and made a mixture like this, it'd probably work really good. These goats are just so used to getting grain that I think that's all they want to hump for. A little dusty, you can hear them snorting. But I think they're snorting at each other too. Yeah, you can see their feed still mixed in with it. Try to get a close-up of them eating. That way I can see if they're getting the grain and the hay or just the... See, they're kind of hunting and pecking for it. The little ones, not so much. They're getting whatever they want. This would definitely be easier to do if I had a mixer. I should have probably tried sprinkling the grain in the hay as it was chopping. Might have been a better mixture. But then I might end up with a whole pile of grain in the bottom of the chopper. So I'll watch them eat for a little while, see how they're doing, come back and see how much of it's actually left, what's left and everything, see how much is on the ground. So there's my video on goat feeds and experiments. Please leave your comments about goat feed mixtures and leave a comment about anything, I guess. Thanks for watching.